Mark Black. Nice to meet you. I'm Mark. Hi, Michelle. Nice to meet you. Julie Kitchen. Hi, nice to meet you. Okay, that's what I figured. You find me.
Michelle.
Good. You're not a world member, are you? Oh, no, in my dreams. Right, me too. Me too. I worked for Citizens Bank. Okay, yeah, I did that for 30 years. Right, that's the best. No,
But I think-
yeah, well, that's what it is. I got there 2 times.
Oh, well, we didn't make it.
Every year.
So we made
Grace is out.
No.
No, I don't like that.
Right. Yeah, you were going there. So, I wouldn't go there. Are you from the area or? No, I'm.
Okay, everyone, we are going to started very shortly. We just want to make sure we don't have an echo here. All right, everybody, I think we've worked through our technical issue. So we are going to get started. My name is Marimba Malayans. I am the president and CEO of the Hill Community Development Corporation. I'm so happy to be with you all in person for those of you who are here. And of course, we have quite a few folks who have logged on as well. So really good to just be in the presence of Hill District residents and stakeholders. With that said, we have an online audience. I'm sorry, I think I need to run my PowerPoint here too. Give me 1 second. I think she just needs to share it there. Okay, so thank you. 1 second. All right. Gotta love the digital and in-person life. All right. So again, I'm Marimba Lyons, President and CEO of the Hill Community Development Corporation. And we are going to do a quick year in review here and introduce some new staff, talk a little bit about Hill CDC programs, New Granada Square. We'll give you an update on Lower Hill development as well as the Bedford Dwellings Plan. But of course, many of you are here to vote on two new proposals that are coming through the Development Review Panel. And you will have an opportunity to hear from those developers today. You will also get a couple of other updates. And so we will be really thoughtful about keeping the pace moving because we have a lot of content to cover. So we will take limited Q&A after each broader agenda item. You will absolutely have a chance to ask questions of the developers. They will have time presentations. And we do encourage you to save most of the time this evening to ask questions of them so that they can have their time. Please feel free to drop a question in the chat on Zoom or online. We have individuals monitoring that will either respond in chat or who will read it live. If you want to ask your question live, please leave a note in the chat and we will unmute you at the appropriate time. And then of course, disagree with respect, no name calling, personal attacks or the like will be tolerated. One second, please, if you could hold for one moment, for those of you who are online. All right, thank you for your patience. I apologize to you all for the technical issue. I was just going through some housekeeping. We're going to jump right in. Most of you know that we are a place-based organization focused on the revitalization of the Hill District, where cultural legacy meets future innovation. We are now celebrating 35 years of operation. The Hill CDC works in partnership with people, works in partnership with residents and stakeholders to create, promote, and implement strategies and programs that connect plans, policies, and people to drive compelling community development opportunities in the Greater Hill District. As you know, we focus on people, place, and policy, and we are specifically doing that work through real estate development, economic development programs, and policy and planning. So that includes everything from commercial core, homeownership, training and development, business and entrepreneurship, promotion, arts and culture, promotion of equitable development, and neighborhood planning. Some of our annual review and highlights that we wanted to share with you are new team members. So we want to introduce Brett Miller, our Senior Director of Operations in Finance. So Brett, really happy to have you as a part of the team. Min Loon Lee is our Business Manager and Staff Accountant. Really happy to have Min Loon as a part of the team as well. And we also want to recognize a promoted team member, Michelle Watson, who was promoted from Real Estate Associate 2 to Real Estate Development Manager. So kudos to Michelle, who has been doing a great job with the organization. So a couple of very high level organizational updates. We have updated our Hill CDC office space. If you have not stopped by, please stop by to say hi. We don't get as many visitors post-COVID, or I guess we're not 100% post-COVID, but you catch my drift, as we did before, but we are still very grateful to have our office space updated. And so we worked with Russell Contracting to do those updates, so please swing by. We still have an open door policy. We also want to welcome new board members, Dr. Audrey Morell, Jack Higgins, and Prashant Cannonbill. So we're really excited to have new board members as well join us. And I think the big highlight for us right now is we continue to evolve through rapidly changing times, like most of us, either dealing with personal, organizational, family, whatever the challenges are, we're all still just trying to figure out this new space in which we operate. And so I think that's really the biggest celebration for us, the Hill CDC, during this time period. With that said, we do want to cover a few of our real estate highlights, and I'm going to invite Michelle Watson up to talk a little bit about some of the items that we have completed over the past year, if you can believe it. So, Michelle.
Good evening, everybody. So real estate, we had a big year. We've completed a 40-unit affordable housing and began new commercial development. 7 homes put under construction or completed this year. Affordable homes remaining to be rehabbed. We have HU 100 home ownership, 14 properties, and 2 properties in our commercial rental. We have much needed repairs underway at Malayan's Manor, such as installing a new roof right now and turning over some units. Improvements to Western Manor have begun. Hill CDC does not own this property, but we are providing technical support. We also are doing major property management changes and improvements as we speak. So we have New Granada Square. First up, the New Granada Apartments. We are at the very end of this great project that's been a long time coming. It began construction in 2021, June, and we're completing it this month. We met all our MBE maximization efforts at 50% MBE and 15% WBE. So that's a great thing. And then here's some before and after pictures. And these are the pictures of the interior space. I'll go back to say, some tenants have began signing leases and started moving in last week. Okay, next up is renovation of the historic New Granada Theater. That has begun. Renovations of the historic building and construction of the new office building next door to be approximately $42 million in development. Interior demolition has already begun, released to MBE subcontractors. Completed design work for the anchor tenants, occupancy, and engineer work for the remainder of the building. So this is what the new renderings are for the new Granada office building and theater. This is the first time I think the community has seen this. As you can see, it used to have like a rounded shape structure here, but now due to zoning and we've changed that to a more square structure. This is the back of the building on Wiley and what is that, Dinwiddie? I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Well, Michelle makes it seem also simple, but it is truly a feat to have completed that much real estate work in a community like the Hill District. You know, obviously, I call it a 20-year overnight success, right? Because you work for like all of this time and then it happens inside of a 12 to 16 month period. But I definitely want to recognize Michelle because she has been, tremendously impactful in terms of carrying out the day-to-day work. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about Hill CDC programs. I'm gonna invite Shavesha Cheney up to join me, and then Corey Carrington as well. So we are, she's gonna give an overview of some of our economic development programs, which include small business as well as our home ownership program. So Shavesha.
So welcome everyone. My name is Shavesha Cheney. I am the Policy and Programs Associate here at the Hill CDC. So one of the things, as I mentioned, as Marimba mentioned, that I oversee is some of the programs. So we have served over 100 small businesses and entrepreneurs through workshops, one-on-one technical support with our university partners, opportunity resources, and other events. Some other things that I cover is the MBE maximization that is also working in relations to Michelle and the development happening in the Hill District within the Hill CDC, but also with external partners as well. Another program that I cover is Hill Tech Society, and that is pretty much trying to bridge the technical divide that is happening in the Hill District. As many of you all know, because you live in the Hill District or work in the Hill District. Capital accessibility and readiness in our commercial corridor, which is tenant recruitment through our HD Rising program. So if you know any businesses or businesses who are looking to have a space in the Hill District, please tell them to apply to our HD Rising program. So just to dive in a little bit more, Hill Tech Society, as I mentioned, is a tech program that we are starting this January 2023. Applications are still open. So if you know anyone who is trying to build an app, anyone who has an idea that they're trying to execute in the technical space, this is an opportunity for them. If they're an innovator trying to see something through, this will be a perfect program for them to meet with other innovators in the Pittsburgh region and outside of the Pittsburgh region to help execute that idea. As I mentioned, HD Rising is our Hill CDC initiative created to assist businesses and entrepreneurs in finding available commercial space and retail space within the Hill District. Spaces can be converted into commercial space, whether it be a boutique, restaurant, nonprofit, or traditional space. This event was this past summer, which was with our partners, SBN and Urban Redevelopment Authority. Basically to give an overview and to help them bridge the financial gap within their businesses. But it was really to give an idea about the New Granada commercial spaces that is coming up, and in the more technical sense about the square footage, how to apply, what you need, what your rent would be, because we want it to be affordable space to the people who are coming into the community. So again, if you know someone who's interested, or if you have a business and you want to be on the Center Avenue corridor, this is a program you want to apply to. And this is just some pictures from the summer. And so HD Rising has pipelined over 80 businesses, which is fantastic. I just started in February, and when I got here, I want to say we maybe were at like 30, and that was in February. So for us to reach 80 in this December, and we're going into January, is phenomenal. So we continue to encourage people to apply because we're always looking for businesses, and you know, commercial space will always become available as we are currently redeveloping the Hill District. HD 100 program is another program that I manage, which is helping people who were either displaced from the Hill District or who live in the Hill District but rent and want to find home ownership. And so this is one of the programs that happens every Saturday every third Saturday of the month with Urban League. Is over Zoom. And so our next one is coming up January 2023. We're still able to apply. The deadline for that is at the end of the month. So if you are looking to become a homeowner, this is a perfect program for you. And arts and culture is coming up.
I think many of you have met Corey Carrington, who is our Main Street and cultural program manager. And he's going to talk about arts and culture as an economic driver and what he's been up to. Corey?
Hello, everybody. I'm Corey Carrington. I'm the cultural and Main Street manager here at the Hill CDC. Oh, all right. I'm gonna take the mask off. Yeah, so my name is Corey Carrington. I'm the cultural and Main Street manager here at the Hill CDC. One of the programs that I manage is called the Nafasi Artist Residency Program. This program is essentially bringing artists into the community. We have 6 apartments above 2145 Center Avenue. We have a gallery space in the middle, and we have a studio in the basement. So concluded the initial Nafasi Artist Residency Program. Nafasi Artist Residency 2023-2025 cohort is expected to begin in January 2023 with a handful of creatives from a diverse group of artists from visual, performing, creative writing, and more. This mixed group will strengthen the roots, culture, and arts of the Hill District neighborhood through the talents and skills that each artist offers. Center Avenue corridor is slated to be filled with 40+ artists and creators from Nafasi and New Granada Square apartments, reinvigorating the legacy of the Hill District's history, cultural, and economic vibrancy. So basically the program is broken up into different focus areas. We have the entrepreneurship track, which is going to teach all artists the essentials of business, how to do an EIN, setting up LLCs, any appropriate licenses and structures for their businesses. Exhibition, teaching all artists how to put on their own shows, how to curate their shows, how to hire different artists, and just basically set up what they do as artists. Manufacturing track is going to see them partnering with Proto Haven, which is an organization located in Wilkinsburg, where they're going to learn how to use different machinery in order to help them create different art products and also create an additional revenue stream. The branding track is basically going to be teaching the artists how to market themselves, how to figure out figuring out how their products are going to be placed in the market, who their target audience is, and much more. Practice is going to see the artists working directly with some master artists to pick up different skills, and also learning new skills that's going to help them create an additional revenue stream. And the professionalism track is, the culminating track where we're going to see the artists creating their own business cards, e-commerce websites, headshots, and just basically wrapping up the program and making sure that they're going to be marketable to the community after they finish the residency. Some of our prospective partners our Origins, which is a Black-led creative initiative sponsored by Bridgeway Capital. Proto Haven, like I said, is going to be managing the manufacturing track. It's a lot of partners. Let me see. Casey Droege Cultural Productions, who is going to be handling the exhibition track. We have Women of Visions that we're going to be partnering with for our practice track, and multiple partners for our professionalism track. We are also working very closely with Yancey Consulting, who is our partner in creating this, we like to call it Black Wall Street 2.0, and enlivening the cultural corridor of the Hill District, specifically the Center Avenue corridor. And I'm going to read this. Yancey Consulting is our trusted partner in activating the cultural and commercial corridor on Center Avenue. This is their core work with strategies focusing on realizing the plan for the centers of culture, opportunity, and cultivation. The rich and deep history of the Hill District is a source of pride for many with roots in the community, making this history and pride visible through physical markers and opportunities for celebration can start to change the perception of the Hill. We've held multiple focus groups, one-on-one sessions, and the work will continue into 2023. So we also have a Nafasi pre-Kwanzaa celebration that is going to be happening Wednesday, December 21st, 2022, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. At Nafasi, 2145 Center Avenue. We are going to have vendors that are going to be supplying all your Afrocentric needs, Kwanzaa needs. So I would love for everybody to, make it out to this event if you can. It's very important. I think that Kwanzaa is something that we don't necessarily talk about as much as we should. So I think that, just to get the community ready and prepared for Kwanzaa, and just to give a little bit more information about the holiday, this is going to be what we have for you. And now we have policy and plan. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for all of your hard work, you and Shavesha, the hard work that you're doing programmatically and especially invigorating our corridor. I'm going to do a quick rundown of our policy and planning work here at the Hill CDC. We want to bring your attention to the HACP and City of Pittsburgh choice process. So choice is a federal program that comes from housing and urban development with the federal government. There is a competition for a $50 million grant that could possibly come to the Hill District. And so partners are working throughout the Hill District in order to bring that capital here, which would be leveraged multiple times over in order to do over 800 units of housing in the Middle Hill District. So that application is due in January. Shout out to Bedford Dwellings residents who are here to represent. Always love to see people who are most impacted present in the audience and engaged, very important. So the program has 3 specific areas: housing, people, and neighborhood. The focus is not just the public housing community. It is a broader area around the public housing community. One of the things that HUD learned was that just developing the specific public housing community does not result in the catalytic impact that they were hoping to have throughout the community. So they've expanded the footprint to be normally an entire neighborhood around the public housing community. With that said, the public housing communities, the impact on that public housing community is most important in the redevelopment. And so we want you to understand that that's the focus. The focus area specifically, you can see in this picture, and again, the due date for the application is January 11th of 2023. And the footprint includes everything from the Lower Hill District all the way up to Heron Avenue, okay? So it is the entire Middle Hill District and a part of the Lower Hill District. The lead grantee, excuse me, that ran over for some reason here. The lead grantee is the Housing Authority and the City of Pittsburgh. The lead implementer for the housing portion is the Allies Ross Management and Development Corporation. That is the Housing Authority's nonprofit development arm, okay? They call it ARM DC. but it's the Housing Authority's nonprofit development arm, okay? And Trek Development has done development throughout the city. In the Hill District, they have done Dinwiddie Street. So that is the development team that was selected to carry out Choice. The neighborhood implementation lead is the Urban Redevelopment Authority, and the people implementation entity is the Allegheny County Department of Human Services, okay? So, so this slide kind of just outlines again some of the goals that have been outlined within the HUD application, which is 1-for-1 replacement, meaning there are currently 411 units. The goal is to replace all and more. There's a build first, move once goal that the Hill CDC has been pushing. And that continues to be the goal of the Housing Authority so far as we understand. So it used to be kind of like a build first type of thing, but you might build first, but a resident may already move. So the goal, and then you're trying to get them to move back, and they're not likely to move back once they've moved, because moving is a major thing that happens in someone's life. And so the goal is really to ask people only to move once. So the first phase is going to be on the Reed Roberts site. So I don't know if you have been following, but there is a proposal to redevelop the entire Reed Roberts site. I'm going to show you a map here with the number of units. It's a little small, but I will point to it so that you understand here what we're working with. So I don't think you can see my mouse for whatever reason. On the left side here, you have the Reed Roberts site, which is 125, well, total of about 140 units when you add both of those numbers together. My math isn't completely great tonight, so you're gonna have to forgive me. But that's the site behind the grocery store, okay? And then you have the Bedford dwelling site. The current Bedford dwelling site is envisioned to be 500 units. So that will be transformed. That'll be everything from Summers Drive to Francis, okay? So everything from Summers Drive to Francis. That's a very large site. Then you have Chauncey units that are expected to be redeveloped as well. Excuse me, sorry, that changed on its own there. And you have a number of other kind of scattered sites that are being considered. And then I think the other larger one is Heron Avenue, where they are proposing 120 units. This will be mixed income, so it will be the residents who are currently at Bedford dwellings, plus additional units that are being built for people who currently do not live at Bedford dwellings. Here's the plan and proposed site for Heron Avenue. I know that this has been a topic of discussion, so it's very important for people to understand and appreciate the scale that's being proposed. The Hill CDC has been promoting a couple of things. One, we believe in community participation, ownership when possible, and partnership in a meaningful way, but also that the long-term redevelopment of Heron Avenue is done as we are waiting for news and as we move forward, right? In other words, we don't want to foreclose on future opportunities, and we don't necessarily want to miss the capital that can come from this opportunity. So we want to keep moving towards the highest and best use on Heron Avenue, as well as figuring out how that plays into this proposed housing site. So those are some of the items that we have to share with you relative to Bedford Choice. It is a critically important project. It is going to bring, I have to emphasize this because sometimes it's hard to understand and appreciate the scale. So if we look at New Granada Square Apartments, which is the new development on Center Avenue, that is 40 units of apartments, okay? This is 800 units of proposed units. 800 units of proposed housing, okay? So it's like considerably more than what is there. So you also have to think of, as a Hill District resident, things like land use, right? Where will 800 units go? Is that the highest and best use for that particular site? You know, are there other opportunities? I've encouraged quite candidly also the Lower Hill to be considered. We need affordable housing on the Lower Hill. The Lower Hill is within the Choice area. That's something that, you know, I've been very candid with the developers about wanting to see that as a considered site as we move forward. The sites that I showed you are the ones that are going to be submitted in the application, but as Hill District residents, we continue to be very self-determined and advocate and advocate for ourselves at any stage of the process, okay? So that is a little bit about Bedford dwellings. I'm going to ask Shavesha to check the chat. We have a question. Okay, we're good. All righty. So if you want to stay connected to the Bedford Choice process, you can go to bedfordconnect.com and find more information. You can also come to our website or you can stop in our office at any time. What else is happening with our policy and planning work? Well, you may know that the Commercial Redevelopment Task Force was an initiative of the Hill CDC that we launched in order to advance the commercial revitalization of the Hill District. Let me clarify, this is a partnership with the Hill CDC, the city, and other agencies, URA, the Port Authority, the Duquesne Light, right? Like there are a lot of folks who have participated in this committee. The Commercial Redevelopment Task Force advocated for these funds. These funds actually were received by the city of Pittsburgh's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. So you probably heard about that, the RAISE grant. $11.3 million doesn't go extremely far in infrastructure, but it is something to start with. So we want to make sure that you all don't forget that our advocacy, our showing up, our consistent pushing for what's in the best interest of our community, it matters. It matters and it actually yields returns. So be encouraged. We've also continued and collaborated with the city of Pittsburgh and project managers and agencies to host bi-monthly plans meetings, such as the Greater Hill District Master Plan. Right now, we're doing Parks Plan, we're doing a transportation plan. Like, you know, we're being a little bit planned to death right now. And so we decided to just have bi-monthly meetings where we talk about all the plans. So for example, last month, we talked about Freedom Corner. And so, you know, because Freedom Corner is getting upgrades, remember it was in an accident in July, it's now getting updated. So we will do these meetings just so that people can stay apprised of what's happening in the community. A few things about our other policy work. We are ensuring that equitable development remains in our community. I always say our policy work is about getting in trouble, but it's good trouble. It's necessary trouble, as John Lewis said. It's the kind of trouble that will ensure that we are able to meet our goals. And I charge you all with getting into a little bit of trouble with us when we're out there trying to do what's in the best interest of the community. And that doesn't mean that we are against in any given case, in any given case against a development. It means that we are for the development fulfilling the goals and needs of the community, okay? So we are also working on getting our Greater Hill District Master Plan codified. We are working on vacant land and housing stabilization, securing additional reinvestment dollars for the Hill District. It's no secret that the Hill CDC is charging the Lower Hill Development Team with providing $2, with charging a $2 surcharge on every car parked in the 908 space parking garage on the Lower Hill. And we are asking for $2 surcharge on every ticket sold. And where will that money go? That money will go into a community fund that's held either at Poise or the URA. And those are funds that can go towards mortgage assistance. Those are funds that can go towards rental assistance. Those are funds that can go towards small businesses, that can go towards the next New Granada Square apartments. So we can't do this without you. I want to be really clear. We can't secure these kinds of asks when the community doesn't say, yeah, that's right, we're on board. You know, sign us up, we're there. We're gonna sign this petition, we're gonna come to this meeting. And if we wanna redevelop our community, when you think of, it takes about $60 million to develop one block. One block. We've got 600 acres of vacant land in the Hill District. So if we wanna develop the Hill District, we need a lot of millions of dollars. And so we think that a $2 surcharge on tickets and parking is very reasonable in order to help us achieve that goal for our neighborhood. The other thing we're asking is for the Lower Hill Development Team to attach our community benefits agreement to the changes they're trying to make to the master plan for the Lower Hill. We don't want them to just mention it. We don't want them to say, oh, we're cool with it, we want it to happen. We want them to formally attach it to the master plan called the Preliminary Land Development Plan. Why do we want them to formally attach it? Because the moment that they formally attach it, it becomes a document that the City Planning Commission can also ensure that they are fulfilling. So what does that do? That takes our voice, it amplifies our voice, and it ensures that the regulatory bodies for the city of Pittsburgh, by the way, who your tax dollars ensure can do their work day to day, help us to achieve our community goals. So we'll talk a little bit more about that for those of you who are night owls today. And then, of course, we do a lot of work around holding our government partners accountable. This is our good trouble, you know. The mayor and city council, they get tired of hearing from us. City planning, they get tired of hearing from us. But we're going to keep on showing up for the residents. And so we do hold our government partners and development stakeholders accountable to community promises. If you've said you're going to do something, we need you to do it. You can stay connected with us how? We do community meetings, as you know, online, offline, every other month. You can catch us just about anywhere. You can walk into our office. We do direct calls, meeting reminders. We do social media, websites, email, right? And so we print flyers. We do weekly roundups every weekend. Please sign up for that. And then, of course, we do what's called the Coffee and Donut series for those of you who want to sit down and have a personal one-on-one with me and tell me what I did wrong last week or this week or the upcoming week or what I did right, whatever it is you want to share. Those Coffee and Donuts are for you to have that one-on-one time where you can talk about whatever it is you need to talk about with me personally, okay? So we thank you for your support in 2022 and before, and we ask for your continued support moving forward. So we are going to jump into the development community presentations. To remind you about this process, we, Hill CDC is an RCO, which means a registered community organization. The city of Pittsburgh passed legislation that created a special status for community organizations who do essentially community development review work. So the Hill CDC is an RCO, and a developer is required to hold a development activities meeting. It's called a DAM. We think that that was a joke, but it's called a DAM. At least 30 days prior to going before city planning or before the zoning board of adjustments or the historic review commission and a number of other things. The ordinance that was created identifies and discourages multiple different RCOs in overlapping boundaries. So, however, the city did approve 5 RCOs for the Hill District, 3 of which are overlapping. So we had a little bit of a conflict there because the ordinance, the law says, do not overlap. And then the city approved 5 in the Hill District. So we just want you to know that we are aware that this is a challenge because that means you're getting more community invitations to community meetings, but it also may mean that it's a little more confusing and a few other things. So we are encouraging the city to make improvements to the RCO ordinance. In our RCO application, we did ensure that community members have a chance to vote in each and every development that comes through. And that is after we have already studied the project at the development review panel level. So there is a committee of folks who review, make sure that it's close to the master plan, and then it comes to you to vote, and you will have a chance to vote tonight. So a little bit more about the impacts of multiple RCOs, just so you know, it does weaken community voice a little bit, right? Because if the RCOs don't agree on something, it can be used as, well, we're so confused, the community's not clear about where they are, right? And you know, that happens a lot in communities like the Hill District. So we absolutely do our best to just align with the master plan. That's what guides our work, is our community master plan. It can strengthen or weaken community voice depending on whether or not there's collaboration. And then it can also, again, like I mentioned, it can confuse you, but you just have to kind of stay on top of which group, right? In this particular case, we have a relationship with many of you because we've been having meetings for a very long time, and this is the work that we do. But we do want you to know that sometimes miscommunication and misinformation, and sometimes, quite frankly, you know, developers take advantage of those kinds of things. So we just want you to be on guard and tuned into what's happening. Here are the RCOs for the Hill District, the Hill CDC, the Hill District Consensus Group, Uptown Partners, the Shimley Heights Collaborative, and the Hill District Collaborative. These are the RCOs that have been approved by the city of Pittsburgh to represent you as a resident in formal city procedures and proceedings. So if someone says, I am an RCO, you should especially hold them accountable to making sure that they are upholding and uplifting the goals of the master plan, okay? So the development review.
Where you get the master plan from?
The master plan was created by about 400 community residents, and it's currently being updated. Okay. So the development review, the question for those of you who are online is, where do we get the master plan? The master plan was created by the community with about 400 residents participated in that process. So these are the organizations who are a part of the development review panel: Ujima Collective, the Hill CDC, the Consensus Group, the Hill District Education Council, the Center That Cares, the Hill District Ministers Alliance, Uptown Partners, Macedonia Face, and the Neighborhood Resilience Project have all appointed a resident to a panel to review projects to make sure that when they come before you, that they are close to the mark, right? That they are 80% or above, because we say in the Hill District, C's don't get degrees, right? And so if you're 80% or above, then you come before the community to get scored by community residents. And so that is what we are doing tonight. You can look at our website at any time and see any project that's anywhere in the process. This process has become a national model for community review and community input. So we have here the approved projects, we have the projects that are under review, and we have declined projects as well. So this is your opportunity to go online and just look for what's happening in your community. And if you can't find it, you can come, I'm with you, young man. I'm totally with him. And if you can't find it, come to our office and we'll help you. Okay? All right. So our DRP process is one that will allow you to have your voice. And so we're gonna start with no further ado with you being able to score. I just want to do a check-in here on order of presentations. Are you all good? If we move here? Okay. So our first presentation is the Citizen Science Lab and then the Jubilee Kitchen. You can find a link to their websites at hilldistrict.org/DRP and the information that they have submitted. You will have an opportunity tonight to score. You will have a piece of paper, you'll have a ballot, and we will collect your ballot. And those of you who are viewing online will have an opportunity to score until midnight on Thursday, December 15th. And so, all right, so the Citizen Science Lab is going to present to you now. The engagement with the developer has been that this is a 501c3 organization that has become a city leader in providing interactive STEAM programming for the residents of Pittsburgh. The Citizen Science Lab incorporates 5 state-of-the-art instructional laboratories that provide hands-on exposure to life science, biomedical, robotics, and biotechnology education for students. The programming has a focus on increasing Black students' interest in STEM, which is science, technology, education, and engineering and math. The developer works with the City of Pittsburgh's public schools to recruit children to the program, and this project scored an A at 90% at the Development Review Panel Committee. So with no further ado, I invite Dr. Andre Samuel to present his project on Heron Avenue. And Shavisha is going to be your timekeeper.
Okay, and I just pushed the arrow key
Yeah.
here. All right. Hi, everyone. How you doing? My name is Dr. Andre Samuel. It is a pleasure to be here before you this evening to talk to you about what we call now Project Dream, which is our development project on Heron Avenue. Let's see. All right, good. All right. So if you could, if you'd like, use your phone to scan the QR code. That will take you to our Instagram, social media. We have a lot of posts about what we do on Instagram. So definitely check it out. I think you'll really get the feel for the type of work that we do. Our mission is to build science pipelines for diverse and marginalized communities through life-changing hands-on STEM experiences. I am a scientist. I grew up in Washington, D.C., loving science. And of course, being a Black, geeky science kid, I was often the minority in my passion for science. But one of the things that really drove me was that I had access to things in the community that drove me to really enjoy science, and was often used to bring my friends along for the ride as well. So that's sort of what the Citizen Science Lab is really sort of based on, right? That passion for science and sharing it with the community. Before we start, I'd like to ask you all to sort of think about a typical scientist, what you think of a scientist. What does that scientist look like? Maybe close your eyes and think and imagine about that scientist and what that scientist would look like. And you can now open your eyes, and chances are you may not have thought of Dr. George Washington Carver, Dr. Ernest E. Just, Dr. Mae Jemison, Dr. Daly, or even Dr. Charles Drew. There's probably even further that you may not have thought of students such as Nyabinghi or Alexis, both who are pursuing a 4-year college degree in STEM. Nyabinghi is actually a Hill District resident and is pursuing an environmental sciences degree at Lincoln University. Alexis is also a resident of Pittsburgh, African-American, is now starting her first year as a biology major in North Carolina State. And these are just some of the examples of what the Citizen Science Lab has produced. We work to change the image of who is successful in STEM, okay? As a Black PhD, there are only about 5.6% of us that are awarded every year. Just so you can understand the scale of that, 55,000 PhDs are awarded in the US on the average on a yearly basis. 2,400 of those, I'm sorry, 2,400 of those are awarded to African Americans. We are a rare species indeed. And so we're changing that face. We are a state-of-the-art laboratory. Our first site was in the Hill District. We expanded out into the south. Now we're trying to make a permanent state here in the Hill District. So sorry, I have to put on my glasses to see my slides. I know after 50, the eyesight is gone. So, all right, so we're a state-of-the-art real-world lab using real science to solve real problems. Our goal really is to become a community asset here in the Hill District and provide and create a center that creates the future scientists of color for tomorrow. Our formula is very simple. We don't require any prerequisites. That means no experience is necessary before you come through our doors. That plus active and engaging learning equals organic and natural growth in the sciences. That's really just how it works for us. You can see here, this is actually a photo of Nyabinghi, one of the students I just mentioned. Someone here might know who that person is. But he actually came through us through the Hill District program, One Nation Mentoring. We partner with a lot of programs to make sure that students get access to our facilities. Our impact is pretty significant. We support marginalized communities with a focus on Black K-12 youth. We are a state-of-the-art research lab. We have served over 5,000 participants since our inception and creation, originally in the old Connolly building in 2015. We create these STEM pipelines for higher education and for industry. Our students go into industry, they go into higher education, they pursue a career in STEM. But even if they don't necessarily go into a four-year college or university, we are still there to support them because we honestly believe that everything is science. So no matter what you do, there is a science component to it. And helping you understand that science component is what will elevate you. So we have a vision, and that vision involves Project DREAM. Project DREAM is what we hope will become the leading institution for supporting today's Black youth as they become tomorrow's scientists. We have evolved. When we first started, we were a program under Urban Innovation 21. Then we became our own separate nonprofit 501c3. Now we're looking to become an institution here in the Hill District. And by doing that, we want to create pipelines where Black scientists are the norm and not the exception. So, I think you missed a slide. Lost it. Okay. Oh, there's Nyabinghi and Alexis. Sorry, my slides are a little bit out of order. Okay, so here is Project DREAM. Project DREAM will take the Martin Luther King Center and Reading Library, which has been abandoned since about 2009, and turn it into what you see here. This is our concept rendering. It will be a state-of-the-art laboratory, 5 different laboratories. Each laboratory is named after a famous African-American scientist, and each one involves a discipline that African-American scientist was heavily involved in. So an example would be the Mae Jemison Laboratory, which focuses on NASA, space, rocketry, engineering, and things of that nature. We have the Ernest E. Just Laboratory, which is a zoology laboratory. Ernest E. Just was the founder of Omega Psi Phi and also the first Black professor of biology at Howard University. So that is the focus for us. This is our future site. It will be expanded with those 5 labs. We will also have outdoor space for droning and NASA programming. That's why you see the drone out there. And we will also do mural art. And the mural art will focus on highlighting Black African-American scientists and engineers. We are currently working with Camo, the mural artist, to be the first mural artist for that series of art. So you can see that there. In addition, we plan on erecting a greenhouse and an egg-laying chicken coop. The greenhouse is in the back behind the far wall in the back. I'm sorry, I don't have the floor plans to show you, but I can share those with you later. But the greenhouse and the chicken coop will not only create apprenticeship programs for urban gardening, but it will also distribute the produce and the eggs to community members. That is our goal. That's what it was. Yeah, definitely out of order. All right, so that's what it looked like before. And then you saw what we hope that it will look like. Let's see. Oh, there it is again. That's okay. Sorry. All right, so if you'd like to know how you can support the mission and vision, you can certainly scan this QR code and it'll take you to some links that'll help give you a little bit more information. But our goal is essentially to become a standard for science education with the new 800 some residents that are going to be built right there within the vicinity. While we see 800 or a lot of you see 800 new residents, I see 800 plus new scientists coming through the doors of the Citizen Science Lab. So I'm extremely excited about the opportunity to build something in our neighborhood right next to those opportunities of housing. So that's it for me. I will just want to say thank you to everyone that has been a part of the Citizen Science Lab and been a part of their support. These are some of our sponsors and so on. I definitely want to give a huge thank you to the Hill CDC and congratulations on 35 years of service.
Thank you.
So thank you all.
Moment to ask any questions that you may have for Dr. Samuel. Thank you for following our time slot here too for you. Questions? Any in chat?
K to 12 are the education levels.
So we focus on K through 12, but our programming is open to K through 12 and adults. So we actually do a series of adult programs called Science and Brews. We have a series of adult programs that we're doing in February, couples chemistry. We tend to do things for both, but we really do focus. The vast majority of our work focuses on youth, but we have a number of programs for adults. Yes. Which include doing your own DNA ancestry. So if you're interested in doing your own DNA ancestry and not wanting to send it out somewhere and do it in-house, we can actually do that with you. Yes.
Okay. Has this been approved and how long will it take for it to be completed?
Oh, that's a great question. So when you ask, has this been approved? I guess my direct question to you would be like, by whom? So who do you ask? So I can tell you who supports it. And I will say that the Shenley Heights Collaborative has approved our plan so far. I believe the Hill CDC has approved the plan so far.
After your vote tonight.
I'm sorry, not the CEC.
Okay.
CEC, Pitt CEC, I'm sorry. We have the support of Representative Daniel Lavelle. I'm sorry, Councilman Daniel Lavelle, and we also have the support of Representative Arian Abney. We have a number of foundations that have committed to the project. McCullough Ministries has provided us with our first $500,000 towards the construction. And so that will start soon. When do we anticipate this will happen? We are currently in negotiations with the URA to purchase the land. We hope that the purchase and acquisition will occur by early 2023. We hope that groundbreaking will start by between March and May of 2023. And we hope that the construction will be done by summer of 24 to open up just in time for our summer camps.
One question just left my head.
That's okay.
Do you have anything in place right now where you provide any type of services or any type?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So yes, we originally started in the Hill District, and then because of the pandemic, we shut that site down, kept one operational, but we still do quite a bit here in the Hill District. So we do programming with here at the with the Pitt CEC, and the Pitt CEC actually serves as a site for pickup for a number of our students who participate in our programs out in the South Hills. So we have our own van, we come out and pick them up. We have 3 programs that are running right now that are core programs that I would recommend if you have youth that are interested in it, get them signed up now. The C3PO project is teaching our students how to 3D print tissues and organs, basically how to create body parts. That is in partnership with Carnegie Mellon University. We have the Sea Perch program, which we have been running for 7 years now, which is an aquatic robotics program. And that teaches them how to build an aquatic robot from scratch. We take them to DC for a huge competition. We usually, spend the weekend there and check things out. That is another program that's currently running. And then we have the ICE-T project, which teaches students how to build batteries from mud, basically. And then they learn how to computer code in order to collect data on the mud battery. And then this year, we're sending the mud battery into space with a high altitude balloon. And none of these things require them to have any knowledge base before we get there. They're usually a year long. They usually run once a week. And we just do learning by doing. You're just going to build this and you're going to learn by building. Anyone else?
And those classes are held here?
We do hold some here, and we do sometimes work with the CEC to hold things here, but most of them occur at our location in the South Hills until we get the project completed here in the Hill District. Right on the corner of 19th and South Highland. So it would be between the South Hills Mall and the Galleria. It's in something called the Landmark Building. You'll be able to see our sign. We have a sign on the road, but it is exact address is 1699 Washington Road. And certainly if anyone would ever like to come by, our doors are always open for you to come by and see it. I know when you hear STEM, you probably think a couple of laptops. This is not it. This is way beyond that.
All right.
All right. Thank you all.
So if you're a Hill District resident, and live in the Hill District, can you raise your hand and I'll hand you a scorecard for the citizen science lab.
Which one? All of them. It varies.
All right, thank you all for your patience. We are going to jump into our next presentation. Thank you again, Dr. Samuel, for your presentation and for your collaboration. We always like to encourage developers when they are following the process, because that's what we want to see, our folks following the community process. It really keeps your voice right in the mix. So with that said, I am going to recognize Director Mark Latner, who is the Executive Director of the Jubilee Kitchen, and the presenter for the evening is Daria McPhee. I believe that's how you all have yourselves organized, but you're more than welcome to both come up if you like, or one of you. And this is a project that completed the development review panel level, and they successfully scored an 89%. At the development review panel level. And then because of the overlapping boundaries and all of the things I just talked about, they actually did a development activities meeting as well. So this is technically their second public meeting. So you all should be somewhat familiar with this project. As I said, it scored 89%, but they are here to, again, honor the community process and to present to you this evening for formal development review panel scoring. So with that said, I do ask the Jubilee Kitchen team to come and join us.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Marimba, for having us here. I'll just give a brief background on the Jubilee Kitchen in case some of you don't know who we are. We were founded in 1979. We're right on Wyandotte Street, which is right off of Fifth Avenue. We serve hot meals, breakfast and lunch every day. We also have takeout meals, and we have a food pantry in our building. In addition to that, we have a clothing room. We hand out personal hygiene items. We have showers and bathrooms for our guests. We also can serve as a mailing address for folks who don't have a permanent residence. They get their mail delivered there, and we help them read the mail, process the mail, understand it, help them sign up for things like Social Security, for SNAP benefits, for welfare, to get a driver's license, to get an ID, a birth certificate, a Social Security number, whatever they might need. In addition to that, we also have a preventing homelessness program where people are having financial issues that we can help them with, whether it's having a utility shut off or losing their residence. We help them through that process. We also have a job training area. We help people with resume writing, with job interview skills. And in addition to all that, we also have a child care center, which has been there since in the early 80s. It's a 4-star rated child care center. That's the highest rating you can get in the state of Pennsylvania. And we charge needs-based tuition. So if the family, for whatever reason, can't afford it and they can't get subsidized from the state, we do an analysis on their situation, and we just charge them the rent that they can afford. So I think that's probably our shining star. It's a great program helping kids. So we need to fix our building up. We've been in this building since 1979, and it was abandoned when we moved in. It is no longer fit for purpose. And if we can't fix this building up, I don't see us operating in the next 5 years. It doesn't serve us very well. For us to, I'll get into this a little bit, but I'll just give my take real quick. What we want to do is, we have bathrooms are up a set of steps which aren't ADA compliant and they're not in good shape. Our clothing room's up a set of steps. Our social services are up another set of steps. What we want to do is renovate the kitchen area to make it more hospitable to our guests. Get bathroom and shower facilities on the first floor, and then on the second floor, put a much larger food pantry and a much larger clothing room, put a laundry facility in, and expand our social services so we can really help guests move from crisis to become stable, and then hopefully enter some of our other social service programs where they can over time become economically self-sufficient. That's the goal and the vision of Jubilee. Now, so I'll let Dario talk about the building itself.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. So my name is Dario McPhee. I work with Indovina Associates Architects. We are the project architects for this project. So about over a year ago, early last year, Mark approached us and asked us to provide a feasibility study. So this study was basically going to look at the building in its current condition and figure out whether or not what exactly they needed to do to continue their mission in terms of any kind of renovations for the building. So the goal was either we demolish the building entirely and just build from scratch, or we reuse what's there now and then we add on to it. So we went through a bunch of different iterations of it, and we kind of landed on keeping the existing building and also adding on to it. So we started off with a little bit more of an elaborate plan, but we started to scale back. So realistically, this addition, all it is really providing ADA accessibility to the building and allowing the building to function as need be. So here's my firm organization. I work at Indovina Associates Architects. Again, we are the architects for the project. And here you go with a little bit about myself. My boss. I went too far. Okay. So Macero Group, Macero Construction Company, they are going to be the CM for this project. So once we were hired to do the feasibility study, We did it, and then now we're going to be the architects for the project. So we sought out a construction company who we felt would be sensitive to the needs and also be sensitive to the neighborhood. I think more specifically, we wanted to have a lot of minority participation. And of all the proposals that we got, they were the only one who actually tried to address any of those needs. So they will be the partner, our partner for the project. Okay, so diversity approach. So basically what they sold us, I wouldn't even say sold, what they promised us, that diversity would be a big part of their approach for the project. It would be a reflection in teams, their subs, the participants in the entire process. And they committed, I think, roughly 30 to 35% MB participation. So that's their promise, and they're gonna try and beat that number. I think for WB, I think they went with like 15%.
Yeah.
Okay, so existing conditions. So as you can see here, the project is located at the junction of 5th and Wyandotte. Right now, you have to the left, you have the Child Care Center, and then you have in the middle, this is the building that we're focusing on. This is the portion of the building we're focusing on. And to the right, we have an existing park or existing green space. Here's the existing building. So as you can see, it's not that inviting. There's a lot to be desired. Currently, the building's pretty much bricked up. There aren't many windows. There's not a lot of natural light. There's not a lot of site lighting for security purposes. You know, it kind of looks a little bit like a prison a little bit, but you know, our whole goal was to change this narrative, change the facade of the building, and actually provide a building.
And get the dumpster off the street.
And get the dumpster off the street. It's a big part. So here's looking from Wyandotte, looking down to 5th. There's that green space that we spoke about. And again, not a lot of windows, just pretty much a blank slate. I think it's, Mark, you want to touch to the activities that happen on that park?
Yeah, I mean, we've had issues with people camping out there. And there were, I think during the summer, we had about 20 tents on that lot. It's problematic for us because it just brings drug dealers in, to be honest with you, and it's bad for our guests and it's dangerous. So we need to, part of this project will be to really, some of that will be taken up with the extension of the building, but we need to get much better lighting and much better security around the building. So those type of activities aren't occurring there.
Yeah. And as you can see right now, this area is not very pedestrian friendly. So we're looking from 5th, looking back at Wyandotte. Again, it's more like a blank face again. And you could just see down Wyandotte. Looking from 5th, up Wyandotte, there's the building again. And here's another image. Okay. So the design. If you keep in mind everything I've said so far, some of the issues, some of the challenges, what we were brought in to do is to expand the services without building so much square footage. So our actual addition is only 1,500 square feet. And in that addition, we have an elevator, we have stairs that provide access to the second level. And that was a big issue that was there before, because stairs are upstairs, people are downstairs. So you have to walk upstairs. Now imagine if you're in a wheelchair, there's no way for you to get up there, right? So this is the addition to the right, very small in footprint. And again, what was really desired for Mark and Jubilee is they need parking. Right now, they couldn't park on the street because it's not So if you wanted to bring donations, you park basically in the street, and now you must take your donations in your hand and start walking. Okay. Moving too slow. Okay, so this diagram here, what this diagram is just showing is how we intend on providing sufficient lighting to keep the parking lot in the area or the site safe. Okay, let's jump into the floor plans. Takes a while to respond. Okay, sorry about that. Technical difficulties of my own. So on the ground floor, basically we tried to open up the space as much as possible, remove any kind of barriers. And now the ground floor is primarily kitchen and dining. And then we have, in the new addition, we have the restrooms. So now we don't have to make the guests go upstairs to use the restrooms. As you can see also in the addition, we have an elevator and we have a set of stairs. And now this kitchen, Mark, it'll be expound upon what's there now, and it'll actually be adequate for the guests. As we get up to the second level, this is where a lot of the changes happen. So if you look at the back portion of the building, right here, these portions of the building are currently not used at all. And so what we've done is we've actually relocated program spaces via a food pantry and a clothing room that is currently inadequate to these spaces. So as it exists right now, the second level has administration and laundry for the most part. We're adding to that space a clothing room and a food pantry. And then as we get to the exterior of the building, so we stuck with brick for the majority of it. For the addition, we started to introduce high density fiber cement panels. We thought it would add a nice touch to it, a little combination of new and old. It's more of a durable material. And then we added the Jubilee kitchen sign, add a nice touch to it. I'll try to zoom through. As you can see, it just basically the design improves everything tenfold in my opinion. So we've really tried to make everything, give it a fresh look, make it a place that the guests feel like they're actually invited to come and not just a regular space where they feel like, okay, we'll go here, but we don't feel welcome. So everything is about making them feel welcomed and that they belong. That's it.
So we want to give you all an opportunity to ask any questions before you vote of the Jubilee Kitchen team. Thank you all for your presentation.
If I'm correct, all those houses that were down there, they're pretty much abandoned now. Am I correct? On where you are?
On Wyandotte?
Yeah.
So
that
there's
Wyandotte,
actually no
is that-
houses on Wyandotte, but then Dorad.
Dorad, that's
And
what I'm.
I don't think they're all abandoned. I think there are people that live down
Okay, that's what I was thinking, Dorad.
there. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
What do you have to be up there? You just walk in?
You just walk in. We accept anybody. We ask no questions. You know, anybody's welcome at any time.
You don't have to be a person to meet.
No, but I would say almost everybody is, you know. So I'd tell you probably 50% of, I don't know for sure because we don't ask, but I would guess 50% of our guests are homeless and 50% have a place to live, but they have economic challenges that they need to come and get either groceries or clothes or a hot meal from us. So some people we see every day, they come in at 7 and they leave 1 o'clock. Other people just pass through and, you know.
What is your plan to implement new programs? Are you planning on having the current programs that you have in providing shelter meals, or you implementing any new programs?
We have just implemented a new program. I'll try to explain it quickly, but I have a struggle with that. We have our Preventing Homelessness program, where we help people financially. We started a new program we're calling Path to Self-Sufficiency, where we help people in 5 areas of their lives. We kind of do an assessment to see where you are. So that what the first area would be your family and home. The second is physical and mental health. One is finances, education, and employment. And we have case managers that work with guests over time to assess where the guests assess where they are, set goals in their life in those various areas, set action plans for how you're going to achieve those goals. And then we meet with them on a regular basis, provide them with the resources that they need. Because once you meet this goal, then you're gonna have another goal, and you have another goal until you get to the point where you've resolved some of your issues and you become economically self-sufficient. So that's a major program. I think helping people get out of crisis, to become stable with our existing services, and then giving them hope that they can really improve their lives is, I think, key to what this building can do for us.
Meals that you provide, how nutritious are the meals that you provide?
Not as nutritious as they should be. So we're limited in what we can do. We always, every day, we always have protein. We have a starch, some kind of potato or rice. We have a salad. We have fruits pretty much every day. This is for lunch. Breakfast, it's cereal, eggs, pancakes. So it's something we need to work on. And that's also what the food pantry will do for us. Because right now we do distribute other food, like it can be, a lot of times we have fruits and vegetables that we distribute to people to take home with them. We need to do a better job of that. An expanded food pantry will allow us to have much more nutritious food there for our guests to come and get. Also, as part of this, if we can afford it, we can figure it out. We'd like to put, I'm calling them food lockers. I don't know what they're really called. But so you could call and say, hey, can I get some groceries? But I can't get there the hours you're open. So we can have lockers outside to keep the food in, and you would be able, with using your phone, be able to go up and access the food that's in that locker. Yes.
That's at the second level is it currently open to the people in need, the second level?
Right now, the second level has bathrooms, it has our showers, it has our clothing room, but like Dario said, if you have any physical limitations, it's really hard. So we'll work with you to help you get that stuff, and the showers is really impossible.
I have another question. Have y'all ever worked with the MLK garden down there?
We have not. We've tried to put a garden into that lot beside our building before, and we do a very good job of it, so we don't do that anymore. If they want to give us food, we'll take it. Yes, ma'am.
Where do you get your funding? How do you do that?
Well, our day-to-day funding we get from primarily from individual donors. We get a little bit from some foundations, not as much as we need. For the building, we have started a capital campaign, and we reached out to a lot of the foundations. Macaulay Ministries also was very generous to us. Some other foundations are coming through. We still have some work to do there. So this could take a longer period of time, but we'll get there.
In your presentation, you mentioned that you wanted to do parking. Are you intending on taking some of the green space for parking?
Some of it, yes.
And how many parking spaces are you?
Only like 8 or 9. Hopefully we'll need more. I'm hoping we have that much demand that more people would want to come. But we need to have a place where people can safely park their cars, get up. If these would be, the parking space are more for people who maybe would utilize the food pantry or the clothing room or the laundry. They're going to have to be navigating things like bags of clothes or groceries or bringing laundry in. So we want to make sure that they have convenient spaces and they're not parking a couple blocks down the street with that. So that's why the parking is really important component of this.
And then to add to that, loading space, right? There currently isn't loading space. So you'd be able to load whatever vehicle, unload from that vehicle, and then go straight into the kitchen. So that was a big portion, instead of having to go through the building itself with food items that are donated, it can be loaded.
In the drawings, it seems that you built like a wall. Are you planning on like a exterior wall to hide the parking space?
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, so what we're going to do is soften the parking space. So we know that the parking spaces, it's paved area, it's harsh. So what we plan on doing is we plan on screening screening the trash, because the trash is pushed all the way back. We're gonna screen that, and then we're gonna plant trees, and it'll help soften up the area a little bit.
Do you have employees or volunteers?
Both, yeah, we have more volunteers than employees. And I also tell you, we have 3 kitchen employees and 2 of them were former guests that, got their lives in a better place and we hired them.
All right. Well, thank you all very
Thank you,
much. We
everyone.
appreciate it. Thank you for closing out. Again, I do want to just highlight how grateful we are to the Jubilee Kitchen for completing the development review process and giving you a chance to vote, even though they already had their formal community planning, their formal city planning meeting called a development activities meeting. So shout out to you all for following through on the process. Please take this as an opportunity to vote. Thank you, Dr. Samuel, for completing the development review panel process. The next step for residents, once you all complete this process, if for some reason this score cumulatively between the panel and the community does not score at 80% or above, they come back to the panel. We work with any issues or concerns that were brought up in this forum, and then they come back to you again. If it passes, then we will confer a letter of support to public agencies, the Urban Redevelopment Authority, the City of Pittsburgh, elected officials, foundations, whoever, right? Like that's the benefit of having your support, because then we can help them do things like to raise the money that they just talked about if you all are in support of it. When you're not in support of it, Hill CDC and the Development Review Panel does not issue a letter of support until it is successfully completed at 80% or above. So thank you all. Take a moment to vote. And then we are going to, are the scorecards already out? All right, please take a moment to vote. Those of you who are online, you will get a link if you have not already received it, so that you can vote. And we are going to move forward because we have just a couple of more items that we want to cover as an update to you all. So really quickly, we're just going to do a 5-minute briefing on the Lower Hill, because that project, as you know, is always top of mind. That is a $1.5 billion development at a minimum, if not more, that is happening in the foot of our neighborhood. You all know the history, but I always like to remind people that 8,000 people were displaced, 430 businesses removed, 1,200 buildings demolished, 100 acres of land cleared. And now we have 28 acres of land to help heal this community from those traumas of the past and be made whole to the greatest extent possible as we develop and strive to develop the rest of our neighborhood in an equitable manner and ensure that they are developing in an equitable manner. So with that said, there are some important things coming up. Earlier, I mentioned the preliminary land development plan. You all remember that the PLDP is the master plan for the Lower Hill. So we have the Greater Hill District Master Plan, and we follow that. That's what you're scoring on now. Like, we follow those principles. But from a city standpoint, developments like this, of this scale, you have to have your own master plan that the city planning department adopts as the official plan that they are going to hold you accountable to when you come back to them. And so the preliminary land development plan is something that gets revised very infrequently. Frankly, once developers submitted, their preference is not to touch it, but they do need to touch it from time to time. So the City Planning Commission approved a project last year, the F&B project to be specific, that had essentially, they were supposed to make a revision then. They were given some allowance to allow them to get that plan through, but the City Planning Commission said, please do not come back to us again until you make the necessary revisions to your master plan for future development. So they are making those revisions now. which gives us an opportunity to revisit some concerns that we put on the table some years back. Okay, so this is just a picture, an illustrative picture of the master plan. This is not the actual preliminary land development plan. That document is this thick. And even though it's that thick, it does not mention very frequently at all, I think maybe one time, the community benefits agreement that the Lower Hill Development Team has engaged in with the Hill District community. That's one of the things we want to change. But what does the preliminary land development plan do? It does things like determine building heights, right? And building minimums. It determines where the roads are. It determines where the curb cuts are. It determines where you can put residential versus commercial. It determines where you can put a music venue versus something else. So that's the importance of it. So they are making revisions now, and there are some things that need to happen. And here they are. We are, again, asking them to attach our community benefits agreement called the Community Collaboration and Implementation Plan. What does that do? That protects jobs for our community. That ensures community reinvestment. That ensures first source hiring. That ensures affordable housing. That ensures all of the things that we know are important to our community. If we can get that plan attached to the preliminary land development plan, what happens? I just mentioned it. The City Planning Commission can help us ensure community benefits. So that's why we're really pushing for this. And we are also, there are a couple other things. We're asking them to hold a community charrette. What is a charrette? A charrette is a session where people get around a table, they look at plans, they give input, because they want to move the Curtain Call project. The Curtain Call project is a sustainability project dealing with water and sewage and, well, technically not sewage, but rainwater and other kind of drainage issues that would happen without having kind of proper hardscaping. But it also is a beautiful project that was done by Walter Hood, who's one of the most prolific landscape architects in the country and an African-American. And as a North Carolina A&T graduate, I also say he must say he's an Aggie. But with that said, he designed a beautiful project that was supposed to sit right in front of the PPG Paints Arena. Well, the Penguins would like to move that. They are proposing a new site for this art project that has many pictures that people from our neighborhood have brought to really highlight the history of our community, right? There's a lot of pictures of folks who are from the Hill District, just to be candid. So they want to move it from right in front of the PPG Paints Arena, kind of snaking down towards Uptown, to Wiley and Crawford, like just 2 blocks down, okay? So look, and we're not saying we're opposed to that move. We are saying, though, if you're going to move it, that the community should have a say in whether or not they want to move there or whether or not it should be moved somewhere else. Because the community put a lot of time, energy, and effort into developing it where it was proposed. So we just want to make sure you're aware of these are some of the things we're asking. We're asking for updated traffic and environmental studies. There's going to be a 908 space parking development on the Lower Hill in this next proposed Block E site. We don't know if there are updated environmental studies. We don't know if that information, because remember the PLDP, the master plan for the Lower Hill was approved in 2014. So we're saying, hey, it's 2022, right? We might need you to update us on the air quality that's going to be caused as a result of these different things. And so again, it's really just kind of a, hey, make sure you do the updates that you need to. Also an opportunity to ensure inclusionary zoning. What's inclusionary zoning? It's when the city essentially, or a developer, in partnership with the city, draws a site and says that within these boundaries, you must include a certain percentage of affordable housing. Within these boundaries, you must include a certain percentage of affordable commercial, right? And for that specific site, it becomes the requirement. So that means that any future plans that they bring, they have to meet that goal. We'd like to see some inclusionary zoning to ensure some affordable housing and affordable commercial development on the Lower Hill. One of the things we have heard back since the tower is being built on the Lower Hill is, oh my gosh, I didn't know the building was going to be that big. I didn't know the building was going to be that tall, right? And it is hard to imagine in your mind's eye a scale like that, something that's 26 stories tall. And so the question becomes, should we be asking for different height minimums and maximums within the master plan? So if you're not concerned about it, then you're fine, because that building, I think, is maybe 2 stories shorter than the complete max. So the question is, are we satisfied with the current height regulations, or should they change? This is the time, because if it doesn't happen now, it becomes an advocacy thing on a piecemeal basis. And then finally, what we're saying is, we really want to make sure that changes that you're making do not foreclose on promises that you've made. This is a highly technical thing. And quite frankly, they don't expect you to get it. They don't expect me to get it, right? But we get it. And so what we're saying is, when it comes to the community commitments that you've made, for example, there's been a lot of discussion between the Laurel Hill Development Team and Bethel AME Church, right? We're saying that if you've made promises to Bethel, if you've made promises to, this Hill District Group or that Hill District Group or Hill CDC, whoever you've made promises to, the changes that you are making should not foreclose on your ability to fulfill those promises. You shouldn't be changing technical things, right? And then it's kind of like 2 weeks later, you're talking to the community group, well, we can't do that anymore because we changed the master plan doesn't allow us to. So we're just saying, hey, we're gonna deal with you in good faith on this. Don't make commitments that you're changing at the technical level that can't be fulfilled, okay? Those are the things that we're pushing for, and here's how you can participate and support. Now, I always tease the Pins, and then they probably don't find this as funny as I do, but I tease them and I say every year we get a Merry Christmas. Our Christmases get merrier and merrier with you, because every year there's a big thing that has to happen at the end of the year. So with that said, we can love our sports team and still be critical of issues and concerns that we have. So with that said, it is the end of the year and it's the holiday season, but there is a meeting next Tuesday. It's going to be online, and you will have an opportunity as a resident to attend that meeting and to give your input. This is a briefing, okay? So this means that the Planning Commission is not voting at this meeting. It means they're listening to the developer, they will listen to your input. But normally the briefing precedes a voting meeting by maybe a couple of weeks, sometimes a month. So we should be expecting that very soon, sometime in the next 30 to 45 days, the Planning Commission will vote to approve or not approve their projects. And then after that, what's gonna happen is the URA is gonna have their meeting, and the Sports and Exhibition Authority is gonna have their meeting. And remember, the land is priced at $10 per parcel. So we wanna make sure that for that $10 price tag, that the community is getting what it needs to get, all right? So how can you attend? The information is here. You can email us, because we know you can't write out that whole address, but you can email us, and we're happy to share this with you. For those of you who have access to Facebook, you can rewind this and pause it and take down this information. But we just wanted to make sure that you were aware that even though it's the holiday season, we still have to be on top of what's happening in our community. With that, we will take questions and answers. And of course, questions and discussion. And we always like to remind you to be social with the Hill CDC. You can sign up for our weekend roundup. We send a weekly newsletter, and you can follow us on almost all of the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn as well. But please, do you have any questions? We want to answer your questions. And I once again want to thank the Hill CDC team. A couple of folks had to leave, but they are working tirelessly every day to make sure that the Hill District's interest is protected. So I definitely want to recognize our team. Thank you so much. All right.
Change before I got the time of the call on the 13th.
Okay, so here's the time is at 1 p.m. on December 13th. Now, these tend to be longer meetings, so I think this is not quite at the beginning of the agenda. So you may want to log on and kind of see where the agenda is, or you can look at the agenda online. We'll make sure we get that out to people, but don't get frustrated, right? You want to hang in there if you can. Yes, ma'am.
Put an application in for a new building down Center Avenue.
You can go to the actual building. So the question is, where can you apply for New Granada Square Apartments? That building is, the property manager is in, and they are, right now, they're doing a lot of leasing. So it's tough, and I can tell you there's a wait list. But you should go and you should put your pre-application in. Inside the building. Just walk right on in and to your left. Okay. We are having a holiday party on December 15th. So that is Thursday. That's next Thursday, December 15th at the apartment building. So we're gonna have it, yes, at the new apartment building in the community room on Center Avenue. And we will do a tour of the apartments from 5 to 6. And then the party starts at 5. So, I mean, at 6. So come ready to party. We'll have mocktails and some door prizes and food, just a good time. You know, we just don't have enough, we don't have enough fun right through here. So we're trying to have a little bit of fun. Yes. I'm sorry?
Do you have to sign up?
You do have to sign up, but the information is on the flyer that, yes, on the flyer. You can pick up a flyer at the door. Okay, you can pick up a flyer right at our registration table. Yes, ma'am.
It just says registration is open now.
Say it again.
It just says registration is open now.
Is that for the holiday party?
Yes.
Okay, yes. You can sign up. If you don't have to, if you want to put a check next to your name, we'll put you in the system.
Oh, okay.
Okay, on your way out.
Okay.
Yeah, we're community friendly. It's all good. It's a holiday party. We just want to have a good head count so we have enough food. Okay. Any other questions? And with that, thank you so much for coming out and thank you all for joining us online. We appreciate your time. I think we have a question online, but we will answer that.
Just real quick, if
no, we're
anybody
good.
interested, I have some stress relievers to hand out. I want to wait till after the vote because I don't want to.
We got some stress relievers.
But if you want one, come by here.
Sorry, folks online. We are, Dr. Samuel brought some stress relievers for folks, but unfortunately, if you're online, you can't grab one. You can swing by the Hill CDC. We'll grab a couple for you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. Maybe I have a question that I didn't want to bring up.